if you record it, they will come. Which would be a great intro to this cast, where I say I've watched Field of Dreams after the last episode, and Stace and I have an enlivening few minutes discussing what we loved about the film. However, I failed in this one simple task, and that means I should be punished. I should be purged. I don't deserve to walk amongst good, clean people. I've let myself, Stace, obviously you can tell I'm reading this because I need to prepare this statement before this podcast. As I'll continue, I let myself, Stace, this podcast, my parents, and you, the listeners, down. I shall now throw myself into the nearest lion pit I find. I think there's one in Keynes.
I was just going to say, I don't know what the nearest lion pit to Northampton would be, but...
Some would argue Northampton is a lion pit all of its own.
I've never been. I've passed through. I always panic when I go to Northampton because it's usually because
you might see
train.
Me. It's Barry. Go.
No, I would never panic at seeing your face, she says, diving under, a nearby table. No, it's because it's always when I'm either going to or coming home from London, and Northampton is the place where the train splits in half, and one half goes to where I want to go, and the other half goes the opposite way entirely. And I'm always panicking that I'm on the wrong half of the train.
I always have that, even though it always splits at Northampton, and I know it's stopping at Northampton.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what side I'm in. For some reason, it suddenly it suddenly turns into some sort of disaster movie where I'm suddenly running about a train going, which half am I in? Which half I need to get the other, and I'm collecting people. Is anyone a doctor here? We need to get the other half of the train, people. Let's move. Come on.
Let's go. I think the thing that bamboozles me is that they always say, like, I don't know, the front 4 carriages will be carrying on to Birmingham and wherever. But, like, is the front 4 the 4 that's at the front, like the closest to you on the platform as you arrive? Or is it the ones at the direction the train will be going in, which would be the opposite 4? Or is it the ones that have like A, B, C and D? Because sometimes, weirdly, those carriages are in the fucking middle, just to really confuse you. Hey, welcome to Stace and Barry in the morning. I don't think we've said that yet.
No, we have.
We've talked a lot about trains, though.
And Northampton.
Because this is the level of lockdown that we're at, where we've run out of things to say.
Yes. And obviously at the start of the show, I was apologising because I still haven't seen Field of Dreams.
I will let you off simply because I am the world's worst at watching anything when people tell me that I should. So I'm not going to judge anybody for not watching things.
Okay.
But, do it, though, because I do really want to talk to you about it.
Okay. And you need to watch Batman Solo the Dragon. Do it.
I do. Oh, no, there's a burp coming. Pardon me. Morning.
Jeez.
Oh, this might be one of the worst intros we've ever done.
What? That intro was legend. What are you talking about? People in years to come, there will be someone teaching podcasts, and like we will have turned to dust, and it will be some guy talking about like podcasts from historians. I think you'll find the Stace and Barry episode. What episode is this? Episode 6 from season 3.
I think it might be episode 5, but
okay, whichever. Going with it. I think you'll find if you turn to your briefing packets, I think you find on page 5. This was in fact the best intro that was ever listened to in the 21st century. I thank you. I am Professor Higginbottom. I'm out.
That doesn't say an awful lot for the calibre of every other podcast in the world, does it?
It does, because they need to up their game, Stace. That's what it says.
Guys.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Have you compared a British town to a lion pit? No. Then get out of my ears.
Exactly. No space for them sort of podcasts. No
Rubbish.
lion pit mentioning podcasts. Let's crack on with a segment. I'm bored.
Shall we do that? Yeah, let's. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Are you bored of me or yourself, or a bit of both?
No, I'm just I'm bored. I'm just bored of I don't know. Take a pick, and I'll be bored of it.
Okay, fair play. Pick of the fortnight. I've pulled that one out my arse. I've decided it's pick of the fortnight. And I'm going to just go first because I've started talking. I did a watch of a scary movie, Barry, called Saint Maud. Have you seen it? Heard of it?
Called what?
Saint Maud. Sorry, I said that really like St Maud's. Yeah.
Isn't it, Gov?
St Maud, yeah. Yeah. It's a spooky movie about a lady who,
Called Maud.
yeah, well, she changes her name to Maud. She sort of has a very traumatic experience that I don't want to spoil, and then tries to like just go off and become somebody else, and then she gets it into her head that she's been like sent a divine mission by God to lead a particular lady out of darkness. Don't want to go into it too much more than that, except to say that this is like one of the best horror films I've seen for quite a long time, and that the final scene slash shot might be one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Good Lord. I wasn't quite prepared at all for it. And everybody should watch it. That was a really short pick of the fortnight because I don't want to spoil it too much because it's quite new as well.
So just to recap, I'm just gonna so I can write this down.
Mm-hmm.
Films to never ever watch. Saint Maud, did you say?
Saint Maud, yeah.
Saint
Yeah.
Maud. No.
There's no spiders in it, but
way. No, the fact that you've gone like, yeah, in the last scene is probably the scariest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, that's me out.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll tell you later what happened if you're not going to bother watching it. I don't want to spoil it for the listeners, you see.
Okay.
So I'll just tell you.
When you say it's really scary, like on what kind of level? I mean, I have seen some scary films.
Okay. Okay, it sort of depends on your tolerance for sort of mental health horror. It's sort of it's quite obvious that she's going through some stuff and that a lot of the things that are happening in this film are not real, but she very much believes that they are and that they're like a sort of sign from God. So it's a lot of sort of interesting yet creepy imagery. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was rough.
Yeah, not seeing that.
It's a good film though. I'd recommend it to everyone who's not Barry.
Yes, and to everyone who's not Barry, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Because this sucker ain't going down that road.
Fair enough. What's your pick of the fortnight, B? Let's move on from
that. My pick of the fortnight is I am going to pick this one. It's a comic. And the reason that I picked this comic was because I kind of went into it with a bit of a sigh going, oh, let me just get this out of the way. So I've been reading, this is the Scott Snyder Batman run comics, which I've actually been really enjoying.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've enjoyed Batman this much, and he's done a cracking job on him. And then I came to this particular trade, which was called Endgame, and this is where like it's supposedly his final confrontation with the Joker again. And I kind of put off reading it because to be honest, and I'm sure I'll probably get like hate mail from our two listeners, but I'm a bit tired of the Joker.
Yeah.
I get it. He's a Joker, but he's not. He's kind of insane and and oh look, Joker gas and oh, and I was kind of a bit. Oh, but actually, I have to say, I wound up really enjoying it, and I was at the end of it. I was like, and that's how you do Batman and Joker, to the point of I almost. Again, a bit like what you were talking about before, I don't really want to say anything. I don't want to give anything away to people who haven't read it. But there's some interesting ideas about like the Joker's origin, and you kind of go back and forth in it and stuff. And I remember hearing about it like a while ago and thinking, oh, that's a bit shit. But then the way they kind of do it, I think they do it really well. And there's a whole sequence like near the beginning of this sort of trade, which just goes to show just how badass Batman is in terms of like dealing with, let's just say, in case his friends ever went dark on him.
Yeah.
It's just the way he's kind of planned for that eventuality, which is just Batman. And it's just great to see a Batman like that, rather than the kind of. I think the Batman I've been looking at recently has been more kind of like the film-based Batman, that sort of thing, where he's more kind of Bat Ninja than sort of world's greatest detective, and strategist and blah blah blah. And this trade really doubles down on the whole, world's greatest detective, world's greatest strategist, and obviously, world's greatest fighter. And it's really really good. And the Joker is actually quite a nasty piece of work in it, as he should be. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant. It's a really good end to it that made me think I don't actually want to carry on reading. I've been told actually it's it continues, it's still really good and whatever, but it's just the way it ends. I'm like, you know what? If you wanted to end Batman, that's how you go out.
Yeah.
In my mind. So yeah, and the art's lovely. Art was glorious, and so it's written by Scott Snyder, arts by Greg Capullo. Letters are by Steve Wands, and inker is Danny Miki. Yeah. So yeah, Batman Endgame. Buy it, read it, own it, love it, be the Bat, be who you want to be. That's me, Batman.
The B's for Batman.
Yeah.
It's been a very unsubtle disguise all these years.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry, especially to you, Barry, because you're editing, but this chair I'm sitting on is making every fucking noise it could possibly make. I'm very sorry for all the clangs, if anybody's hearing them.
It's all right. At least you're not doing robot noises anymore, so that's all good.
That's true. That is true. Instead of a robot noise, let's do a trumpet noise. Jazz. Let's do a musical musing. Do you want to go first?
Go on then. So, my pick of the fortnight is from a very controversial movie.
Oof.
And in fact, not only is this a controversial movie, this piece of music isn't even in said controversial movie yet.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, me too. And I picked it. So Justice League.
Right.
So obviously you've got two Justice Leagues now. You've got the Joss Whedon Justice League, and now we've got Zack Snyder's Justice League Uncut for our whatever that is coming out next month. Now, personally, I'm actually quite excited about it because I don't mind the Zack Snyder films. Sorry, people find that uncomfortable. I understand, but I'm putting my hands up and going, I enjoyed Man of Steel a lot. Batman v Superman, I thought was all right, but the recut sort of original version, I actually enjoyed that a lot more. Justice League, I thought he is all right. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't kick it out of bed. I don't know what that means.
I think that means you'd fuck it.
Yeah, no, that's wrong. I'm going to cut that. I don't know where I was at. I don't know where my head was at. But yeah, I thought it was okay. So what they've done is I don't know if there's a whole new score for it, but they've released a track which is apparently from the official Zack Snyder's Justice League official soundtrack.
Okay.
And it's called The Crew at War Power, which tells me obviously there's a lot of new footage because I have no idea what that is referencing.
What the fuck does that mean?
I was like, what the heck? I ain't got a clue. So this is done by Junkie XL, who did the soundtrack for Batman v Superman, which I really like. And I'm trying to think if he did he didn't do Man of Steel. That was Hans Zimmer. And
he did Deadpool. I know that much.
Probably give me the easiest description. It's very Hans Zimmer-esque.
Okay.
Piece of music, and yeah, it's wicked. It is wicked, and it's really interesting to know that they've clearly rescored it. I think that goes to show how seriously they're taking this recut. It's not just going to be the Whedon cut with a few extra bits sort of tacked on the end. It is going to be a completely recut film. So,
well, I mean, from the trailer, it looks like a completely different movie. But I will be completely honest and say that I don't really remember anything about Justice League. So, so maybe it doesn't look at all like a different movie, and I'm just going, "Oh, I've never seen this. This is new information."
It does look like a completely different movie. So, and clearly there's got to be some different movie stuff to it because it's 4 hours. So,
Yeah, man. That's a long time. That's the one thing that's putting me off it because, like, I was saying to Rich, if this was like, non-COVID times and, we had to drag ourselves to a cinema, there's absolutely no way I'd bother fucking watching this. I'd be like, 4 hours? Nah. But, like, as it stands, I feel like when you've got all the time in the fucking world,
yeah.
like, really, what excuse have you got not to have a look at it? Except for the fact that personally I think it looks like trash, but not to like piss on anyone's chips, but it doesn't look like it's for me.
I don't think it would have, because I think part of it is the fact that he was able to get it via HBO Max. So I think if that hadn't been the case, I don't think we would have seen it. I don't think it wouldn't have got released anyway at cinema.
Yeah, and definitely not at 4 hours.
No, I mean there was a rumor that they were going to bring it out like in sort of 1 hour episodes. Almost like a mini-series type thing, which I actually think would have been quite cool if they'd done that. But you can watch it for an hour, stop it, come back next day. It's nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a wicked piece of music, and it was well worth a little listen to.
Nice. And there's a chance that'll be on Spotify, so it might actually make it onto the playlist.
Hey, stranger things have happened.
In it though. Well, the song that I chose is an old song that I'm sure loads of people will know about, but I recently rewatched the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World because it's phenomenal. And I was reminded of a time, picture this if you will, about, I don't know, like 6 or 9 months before the film came out, and they released a trailer for it. And it was like literally one of the best trailers I'd ever seen because it was like it didn't go on too long. It didn't tell you like everything that was going to happen. It showed you enough to give you like the exact sort of tone of the film, and it had this phenomenal song on it. And I was like, well, this movie is blatantly going to be perfect. And then for some reason, that reason being that I'm an idiot, I didn't think to look at what that song was and just assumed, oh, that's going to be a piece of music from the film. I'll pick it up when the score comes out. And so, like a good year later, the film is out, the score is out, and that song is nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, oh no, I've ruined my own life. How do I find out what this song is? It turns out that song is called Invaders Must Die, and it's by The Prodigy. And yeah, it's a really fucking good song. The best way I could probably describe it is that, like, if you think about The Prodigy, but more sort of their electronic stuff rather than, because I think a lot of people hear The Prodigy and think of like the scarier stuff.
I only know 2 Prodigy tracks. One is Smack My Bitch Up, and that's because it was on Charlie's Angels. And the other one is the Firestarter. I do love that tune. Yeah.
So this is like, obviously it's like along the same sort of lines, but I would say it's a little bit more in the sort of electronic side than it is the sort of scary rock side that that Firestarter brings. But it is so perfectly attuned to what the trailer was doing for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, in the sense that, like, if you put this song on whilst you were on a treadmill, I feel like you'd break it with how fucking hard you'd be going at it, because you'd feel like you can take over the fucking world and punch everything in the head and win, and like it's one of those very sort of like pump-uppy type songs. And after I watched the film, I threw that song on and I was like ready to take on everybody. I was going to punch coronavirus in the face and, like, just go on a big Stace rampage. As it was, I actually just went to bed. But still a really good song.
Angry and rearing to go should anything kick off.
Mate, I tell ya, if anybody had tried to, like, I don't know, burgle my house that night, they would have been met with a fucking nightmare, I tell ya. It's a good song, though. So you should listen to it. That's what I say.
Okay.
Says me.
Nice choice. It will be once I've listened to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then Barry texts me and he's like, I don't like you anymore.
I wouldn't do that.
Oh, good. Because I'm great.
I'll get my publicist to do that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks. Just one day I just get a text from, like, I don't know, Dave, that's like, Barry is severing your podcasting partnership. I'm like, oh. When did you become Barry's PA? This is weird. And shall we move on?
Yes.
To another little wee segment. Jazz. Extra, extra. Geek all about it. Smart.
You're really doing really well with that whole urchin vibe. I like it.
That's exactly what I was aiming for. I'm really trying to perfect like the sort of cockney urchin.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Bit more
Thanks,
dirt
man.
in your face. You nearly there, love.
You can't see me, so you don't know how much dirt I've got on my face.
I could tell though from the tone, the temper of your voice that you didn't have enough dirt in your face. We need more dirt, Sid.
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of food on my face. There usually is, but anyway, anyway, woo. Barry, have you got any news? Because I have, but I thought
Oh,
I'd let you
okay.
go first.
My bit of news could have easily have been my pick of the fortnight, and
Oh,
it could have easily have been your pick of the fortnight. See what I'm getting at? See what I'm
oh,
getting.
where's it going?
This bit of news was given to me by a very close and dear personal friend of mine. That
Me?
was you.
Yeah! Woohoo!
So the bit of news is that I think it was last week the first trailer dropped, or proper trailer dropped, for Final Space season 3.
Oh, baby. I don't even know how to talk about this. I'm not ready.
I've only seen it once.
Oh, God. Okay, so I watched the trailer twice, once on my phone, and then I was like, I've got to watch this on a big screen. What am I fucking doing? So then I watched it on the telly. And both times I was just like, yeah, I'm not ready for this. Oh, God, it looks so good.
So for those who don't know, Final Space is an animated series which has been, I've seen it on sort of Netflix, but obviously it's on some American TV channel and then it comes to Netflix, which is all about an astronaut named Gary and his planet destroying sidekick called Mooncake. Oh, I hate reading things. Look, it's about Gary. It's about this kind of green thing voiced by is David Tennant? No, David Tennant does the voice of the main baddie, doesn't he?
The bad guy, yeah. I've
Yeah, yeah.
forgotten his name now. That's really bad.
So have I.
Oh, shit.
Mooncake is this kind of cute little alien, but you find out that actually there's a lot more to him than that, and he's got this kind of ragtag group of people and stuff. And the first season is actually it's really good and really quite funny and stuff. But you think it's going to be this kind of, I don't know, Futurama type Simpsons vibe to it, which I'm not always there for. And then all of a sudden, it just becomes this kind of epicness,
Mm-hmm.
and that just kind of goes into season 2. Season 2 got a little while to get took a little while to get going for me, but once season 2 got going, oh boy.
Yeah.
And after I finished watching season 2, I spent the next week just going around the house going, Titan speed!
I just kept going around the house crying. I was like, where's the I need to know what happens now. Help.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's one of those shows where like when they announce season 3 is coming to Netflix, I will go and watch seasons 1 and 2 in preparation for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was just so many epic scenes in those first 2 seasons where you're just like, oh my, it is just on the line. It can't get any more worse than this. And then you watch it, oh my god, it got worse.
Yeah. It is one of those things that's like, it's like a proper drama in the sense that there's like, I think I was talking with a friend of Michael Ryan about this the other day, but we were talking about It's a Sin, where it's like it's one of those shows where you think it's going to be like a funny thing, and then it turns out to, yes, be very funny, and yes, have some very joyous moments, but also it's not afraid at all to punch you right in the heart.
Yeah.
Like give you a swift kick right to your heart's dick. Like it's not scared to do that. And I think sometimes that actually makes it more difficult to deal with, because when you're having like a laugh and a jolly, and then all of a sudden something terrible happens, it's like don't know how to cope. And that as soon as I knew that season 3 was happening, I was like, Barry, come on now, get on this. It's exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Apparently, season 3 is going to premiere 20th of March.
Yeah, I think it's on HBO Max though, so I don't know what that means for us in the UK. I don't know if Netflix is going to have it like shortly after or at the same time. I don't know.
It needs to. It needs to sort this shit out.
It really does, because I need it.
Otherwise, I'll be going to Bucky. So they need to sort this shit out.
Yeah, good old Bucky. Well, my little bit of news was was one that I picked up today that I'm not 100% sure how I feel about. There's a Rugrats revival coming to the telly,
Of course.
and it's going to be CGI, but they're going to get the original voice cast back. So this is where I'm like, okay, I don't know, because on the one hand, I don't know how I feel about CGI Rugrats, and I'm also not sure if anybody really needs that. But then again, it's like, oh, the original cast are coming back though, and so it might be legit and good. But having said that, the Animaniacs reboot came back with its original cast, and I think I got about 8 episodes in and then just sort of forgot it existed and stopped watching it. So it didn't really leave that much of an impression on me. But yeah, so I thought that was quite interesting in the sense of like, because there's been a lot of announcements about like new things, like there's going to be a live action Powerpuff Girls, and there's going to be a animated Velma from Scooby Doo sort of prequel thing, and I'm just like, have we run out of ideas, or what are we going to bring to this that's going to make them worthwhile? Like really, that I'm going to have to like really get sold on this on the trailers and stuff, because I just don't understand. Like, what more is there to do with Rugrats? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know. I haven't really got anything to say about it. I mean, I think it's kind of moving away from that slightly, but it's because you mentioned the film one, and that's what I was thinking about. I was like, really? And it's going to be like an adult kind of animated for film. I'm like, how's that going to work? And I suddenly thought the only way it would work, which isn't what they're going to do, because they're going to do it as an origin story, which I'm just not interested in.
yeah.
It would have been if they'd done it a little bit like what's the I know it's based on the comic, Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah.
And if they'd done it a bit like that, and it was kind of like Thelma was now an adult, but she was kind of like a hard drinking, kind of like two-fisted, like occult PI.
Yeah, like grizzled from all of her childhood shenanigans.
And like, you know, maybe like one of the Scooby Gang got killed or something, and like she's like, that's it, I'm out, I'm going my own way, you know. And you can still have the Scooby Gang like pop up and other characters from like I think they're all Hanna-Barbera shows. A bit like what they used to do with that Harvey Birdman show, have other characters kind of turn up and stuff, but they're all kind of older and stuff like that. I can get behind that, but I'm just not interested in the kind of like, this is how Thelma became Thelma. This is how she met Scooby Doo and all that. I'm just like,
yeah.
But
did you watch the movie Scoob that came out, I think, last year, maybe the year before?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, don't bother.
Okay.
That's a similar, like, it starts off with how Shaggy and Scooby met, and it's shit.
Just, you know.
So shit. I think the thing for me is that, like, on the one hand, I'm like, do you know what? It's obviously not meant for me. It's obviously supposed to appeal to the people who are, you know, the age I was when I was watching Rugrats when I was a kid, which is absolutely fine. But it's just, it's just one of those weird ones where it's like, because they always have to sort of try that balancing act of also trying to appeal to those of us who liked it when we were younger and stuff. Which was kind of one of the reasons why I quite liked the newer Turtles reboot, the Rise of the TMNT, in the sense that I didn't actually like the show, but it definitely felt like it was just going for, look, this is what we think kids want now, so, you know, if you're like fucking 35 and going, this isn't my Turtles, no it isn't, fuck off back to your comics from the 35 years ago, or the cartoon from 35 years ago, like, this is for today's children, like, stop watching an actual child's cartoon.
But you know, like, I watch Brilliant Kids. There's nothing wrong with watching the kids' cartoon, but like you said, if it's a reboot of a kids' cartoon that you like, it's like they rebooted Thunderbirds. I loved Thunderbirds, like one of my favourite shows of all time. I love Thunderbirds, and they rebooted it, and it was sort of CG and stuff like that. And actually, they did a really good job. But there was parts of it I'm like, why aren't the fucking puppets here? And I had to sort of go. But at the end of the day, this is a Thunderbirds for today's age group, and if that's what's going to work for them, then that's what, you know, I have to get off that tip. And if I don't like that, then I'll go and watch the puppet shows that I loved as a kid.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. It's like, and you know, some of it might still work. It might still be like She-Ra. The She-Ra reboot was fucking brilliant. I absolutely adored it. But yeah, I suppose like Rugrats is one of those things that, like, yeah, I feel like it's definitely too young for me to be interested in looking at a reboot of. I just thought it was pretty cool that the original cast were coming back.
Yeah, no.
And that I don't think I knew that the whole original cast are all women.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, no, Phil and Lil are played by a lady. I knew that Tommy was a bird. I did not know Chucky was a bird. And then the other characters are girls. So I was just like, oh, okay. Interesting. But anyway, yeah, let's go back to Final Space and end that episode on a high.
Yes. Yes. The Final Space is out, and
Can't wait.
Right. Let's round up.
The end. We love you, everybody. Do us a tweet, Stacey's Parlour, Geek Syndicate. Send us an email, staceandbarry@gmail.com. Shit, we were going to answer Anwar's email and we forgot. Sorry, Anwar.
But we will answer your email.
But we will.
Next episode. It might even be the Anwar episode where we just spend the whole episode talking about Anwar's email.
Maybe. And also, don't forget that we're going to do a live show on the 13th of March, 10 a.m. Superpod.co.uk is where you need to go to find out all about that for charity. And still, that's a bad promo. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. I'm sorry, Al. To my good friend Al, who's organised a very good live podcast event, and I've just, like, I don't know, slept on it.
That's not the Al from Quantum Leap, is it?
I hope not.
Okay, just checking.
Cool. Bye, everybody. We love you. Mwah!
Laters, peeps.